We're back in the swing of things and back with games coming fast and furious and more chances to win $50,000. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Jason Mattis, of course, with Winning Bets, hanging out with you guys on this episode. We're talking Premier League and the NBC Sports Predictor app and chance to win $50,000. They give you 6 games. You got to correctly predict those 6 games, and you can take home that $50,000 prize. You got to give them the right result and the correct score to all 6 games. If nobody can do it, you can still compete for a guaranteed $1,000 prize. 4 points right for the result and 10 points right for the correct score is how you accumulate points and get that $50,000. We got to kick off this show with congratulating Deb T. Deb T, whoever you are. Presumably you're a female. I assume Deb is maybe short for Debbie, but I could be wrong. But Deb T, you won that $50,000. That's right. You guys are watching that Leeds versus Manchester City match, and you knew it all came down to needing a 3-1 correct score in that game. Manchester City getting the 3-1 victory, and that person did it. So just congratulations. That is so tough. 6 games. 6 games. I believe this is the first person to win the $50,000 since they changed it from 5 games to 6 games. So again, congratulations. All season long, I give away $25 to the person who can get the most points. All you need to do is be in the Winning Bets League. If you need that league information, you can grab it from this video description. So let's take a look and see who won last week. Looks like we had a 3-way tie with 36 points. So whenever we have a 3-way tie of 36 points, we roll that $25 into the next week. So that means this week, match week number 18 is worth $50 to whoever can get the most points. So congratulations to you 3 guys. Hopefully you guys can get back on the leaderboard and maybe you can take home that $50. We all remember everybody starts with 0 points every single match week. So if you haven't joined the group yet, or if you forgot to play last week, it's okay. Come take my $50. With that being said, let's turn our attention now to the games, and I want to do something a little bit different. We've never done this and want to actually, do this going forward. I actually want to talk about all of the games and just kind of talk about the previous match week before we jump into the new week and the 6 games that we're going to try and predict this week. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and pull up my phone just so I can get a refresher of the scores. I watch most of these matches. Whenever there's like one game on, I certainly watch the game. I can't watch them all. There's 10 matches and some of them are played at the same time, but I could watch 6 of the 10 or whatever have you is. So yeah, let's talk about these matches. And I'll admit straight up off the bat, I was wrong. I talked about in that last video of maybe coming off the World Cup, these guys gotta get reused to club football and just kind of get back acclimated to the Premier League. I would say there was no acclimation period whatsoever. You jumped right back into it. I mean, Arsenal with a convincing win, Newcastle with a convincing win. That was the team that I talked about in the last video that was probably didn't want to see the World Cup come just because they were up in second place. They were clicking. They picked up right where they left off. So I was definitely wrong about that. I had a terrible score last week, but it was 1 week and looked to get back on it. So yeah, let's talk about those scores. Brentford, Tottenham, 2-2 draw. That kicked off the return of the Premier League. And you saw Tottenham concede for the 9th straight game. They conceded first for the 9th straight Premier League match. They've been the cardiac team. They've been able to come back, and they came back from a 2-0 deficit against Brentford to snatch up a draw 2-2, but that's going to catch up with them at some point. You just can't keep digging yourself a hole and climbing up out of it. But give them credit. They were able to get up out of it on the road and get a point, which was really good. Moving on, we've got Crystal Palace. They played Fulham. Crystal Palace got 2 red cards. Every team in the Premier League is going to lose when you pick up 2 red cards. I did not watch that match. This is now getting into the next 4 games that I'm going to talk about where they're all on at the same time. This was not the one that I watched in this time slot. Fulham took care of business. Again, they won 3-0. Yeah, a lot of teams are going to win and usually keep a clean sheet when you got 2 extra men on the pitch. So good job, Fulham. They've actually had a nice season. They're certainly going to stay up in the Premier League. This will not be a relegated team. They will not be yo-yoing between the Premier League and the Championship. Fulham is they're solid. They're a real nice team. Everton, Wolves. This was a boring game. Wolves got a late winner, 2-1, but just overall, a boring game, but a big game, right? Because Wolves are in relegation. Everton's right above them. A draw really wouldn't have done either of these 2 clubs any good. So whoever got the win, would have been big for them. And in this case, it was Wolves. So nice result, but you got to keep building that Wolves because you are fully on in a relegation fight. Leicester, Newcastle. That's the matchup I watched because I wanted to see what Newcastle was going to do coming up out of this World Cup. And They kept a clean sheet against Leicester, which Leicester, prior to the World Cup, they were keeping clean sheets and they were picking up victories. They ran into the second best team in the Premier League from a table standpoint, and they looked, I don't know if they looked like the second best team, because I still think Arsenal's probably better than them and Manchester City. I don't think Newcastle will finish in second. They may fall to third or fourth, but this is a top 4 contending team, folks. Newcastle is full on for real. Nice result up against Leicester. Brighton, Southampton. Brighton gets a 3-1 win. Southampton's an absolute dumpster fire. They got to be careful. They may go down to the championship. I mean, they're not even winning at home, getting beat by Brighton. Now, Brighton's a good team. They're up in the table, up into that top half, but Brighton's a team you can fade going, or sorry, not Brighton. Southampton's a team you can fade going forward if you put in real sports bets. Fade Southampton, an absolute terrible team, not even putting up good performances at home, so they lose 3-1. Then you had Liverpool. They took on Aston Villa. We bet on my, everybody knows I give out sports bets. I took Liverpool on the money line at -135. They coasted to a relatively easy 3-1 victory. Watched most of that match. It was never in doubt. They got a 2-0 lead. Their fullbacks just do the job. Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, just some of the best fullbacks in all of the league. So, yeah, they easily got past Aston Villa. And Arsenal over West Ham, that's the one that surprised me a little bit. I thought maybe that was going to be a little bit low scoring. I didn't know how Arsenal was going to play for the first time without Gabriel Jesus. But West Ham could not deal with Arsenal's speed. Their passing was just too quick for West Ham to deal with. When they battled back in that second half to get goals, because it was 1-0 at halftime, they just kept pressing. You knew goals were going to come. You knew the Emirates was always supporting that team, rocking. And David Moyes, man, once they got one, it just fell apart for them. They gave up 3 in a 3-1 loss. And again, I just think it came down to Arsenal just moved the ball really quick. If you were to close your eyes, well, I guess you have to keep your eyes open, but if you were to, let's say, take off the jerseys, you almost think you're watching Manchester City. They literally love to move the ball that quick. No big surprise. Arteta trained up under Guardiola. You guys remember he was assistant under Guardiola. But, good job by Arsenal. But West Ham's in trouble. Just like Southampton's in trouble. Wolves are in trouble. West Ham is equally in trouble. They got to get that thing turned around. Then the next day in the Premier League featured 2 wins via win to nils. You had Chelsea knock off Bournemouth, 2 early goals, and then that one was just business, like I would say. When watching that game, there were chances after the two goals there by Chelsea, but I would just say it was a very workmanlike, just get the 3 points once you've really secured that win. Bournemouth wasn't doing a whole hell of a lot to threaten Chelsea, so just a solid performance. And then the other match on Tuesday, Old Trafford, Manchester United taking on Nottingham Forest in an absolute downpour. Once it felt like United got used to the downpour, because it was full on just downpour, United just stuck it to Forest. Forest did nothing. They got 1 goal off a set piece, but it was removed by VAR. It was clearly offside, so VAR doing the right thing there. United just showed their class up against Forest. This is a Forest team that likely goes right back to the championship. Yeah, they were in trouble against United all day long. So just a nice performance there by them. And then the last match of this previous match week, again, this was the one that Deb T used to win that $50,000. Manchester City getting the 3-1 win over Leeds. I still think, Manchester City's an absolute team you can just bet to win to nil. Their goal came off of a set piece. It was a beautiful set piece there by Leeds. They worked the corner. Dude headed it into the side net. But other than that, I mean, there were chances, and Leeds is always tough at home. That crowd really gets behind them, but City dominated the game. They could have had a lot of goals. Hell, Haaland could have, scored in the first minute of the game. He ended up getting a brace. Grealish had a couple of assists. Grealish was wasteful in that first half. I am not a Jack Grealish fan at all. There's even talks of Jack Grealish being sold to AC Milan. He's just not been a good Manchester City player. Again, he wasted some really good opportunities in that first half. That could, Deb T, congratulations, you got your 3-1 result, but that one could have gone 5-1, 6-1. If that's Foden instead of Jack Grealish, Foden doesn't miss those chances. He's just a lot better than Jack Grealish, but just a good performance by City. That's what they do. They're going to dominate the matches. I think they had 70-ish% of the possession, if I recall correctly. So they got the job done. They needed to get the job done because they got to stay on Arsenal, right? They're 1 game behind Arsenal in terms of games played, but I think they're, well, heck, I'll pull it up right here. I think they're 5 points back. No, they're 8. They're 5. Yeah, 5 points back. 5 points back. Oh, with no longer a game in hand. I was thinking of another club. So they have no game in hand, and they're 5 points back. So they absolutely needed that win, because remember, before the World Cup, they suffered that shock loss to Brentford at the death, where Tony, got a goal, a smash and grab, as they like to call it here in football. So, all right, that was the previous week in the Premier League. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Again, let me know in the comment section as you did, but I think the plan is to go forward is to kind of recap all 10 games, because everybody knows soccer is my favorite sport. Been to the Brazil World Cup, done all that stuff. Everybody knows all that. I just absolutely love soccer. So any chance I get to talk about it more, I'll gladly do that. Hey, let's go ahead now and jump on into this contest. It's match week number 18. Let's see if we can win somebody $50,000. The first match here is Leeds taking on Newcastle at St. James Park. I mean, Newcastle's going to win this game. Super impressive. No, layoff, hangover, whatever you want to call it, after the World Cup. Again, we just talked about how they really dismantled Leicester, winning 3-0 at the King Power Stadium. Now they come home to St. James Park. Look, Leeds is 19th in the away table. They're 19th in the away table. This is a Newcastle team that's only conceded 5 goals in 8 home matches. Newcastle is going to be very, very tough here. Leeds won't have that home crowd to push them to a goal. Sure as hell not going to push them to a result. I've got Newcastle keeping a clean sheet. And let's go ahead and run back that last score that they did against Leicester at 3-0. Yep, Newcastle's going to win the match, 3-0. The next one we got to predict here is Manchester City taking on Everton. Let me give you this stat. 4 straight win-to-nils versus Everton in all comps. That's right. The last 4 times these clubs have hooked up, City's won them all, and City's won them all win-to-nil. Win-to-nil means you don't let your opponent score on you. It's going to be much of the same today. This one's being played at Manchester City at the Etihad. They're going to keep a clean sheet. It all just comes down to when they can get the first goal, because, if a team's able to frustrate City, you saw what Leeds was able to do, right? It was almost 0-0 at halftime, which would have been a nice result there for Leeds and Jesse March's men to go on a halftime 0-0, but they got the goal, and then you saw that second half. Then Leeds has to, kind of play a little bit more open. City gets 2 quick, goals there to open up the second half, and then it kind of runs away from Leeds right there as it's 3-0, and then it becomes 3-1. So that's what it'll come down to. Can City get an early goal? If City gets an early goal, this will absolutely be a rout. I'm going to predict a rout. They've got the best player in the league on their team in Kevin De Bruyne, and he's giving great service to Haaland, who's the best striker on this planet. City's going to win this game. I've got City winning the game 4-0. Next one here is Bournemouth taking on Crystal Palace. And of the 6 matches that we've got to try and predict this week, and this was by far, I thought, the absolute hardest one. This fixture has seen 3 straight clean sheets. 3 straight clean sheets. It's been a 0-0 most recently. But besides that, you had one of these 2 teams pick up a win and keep a clean sheet in the process. This one feels like a toss-up. You go look up the goal differential, whether it's season-long, home and away. There's no real edge. I'm going to go 0-0 draw. I'm going to go 0-0 draw. So that's what we'll do here in this one. All right, let's move right along now to Brighton taking on Arsenal, which this one could be a really stinking good match. Look, if we look at away table, which Arsenal is away in this fixture, they're in first place. Man, they're in first place overall, but they're also in first place on the away table. Brighton falls down to 12th on the home table. I know they're sitting pretty in the top half of the league in terms of overall standings, but if you look at home table, they're at 12th. It's where they're on the road where they're really good. They're 4th on the road, so you got to factor that in. This has not been a good home side so far this campaign. Brighton has won the last 2 head-to-heads in all competitions, but boy, is Arsenal absolutely clicking this season. I can't see Arsenal dropping points here. I think Arsenal gets the win here, but I think Brighton will score at home, so I'll go Arsenal 2-1. Give me an Arsenal 2-1 win. Let's go to White Hart Lane and talk about Tottenham taking on Aston Villa next. And I think if you're going to talk about this match, you got to talk about what we talked about when we did the recap of the previous match week, where Tottenham has gone 9 straight matches of conceding first. So can Villa get an early goal, and then can they protect it with Unai Emery, whose tactics will be spot on here? And that's one thing I know here is Unai Emery is going to set these guys up tactically to get the job done. It's can they score first? It's not going to rattle Tottenham, right? We know Tottenham's going to come back if they're scored on first. Hell, it's happened the last 9 matches. They've been able to claw back in a lot of those 9 last times, but they better be cautious here of letting Villa score first, because Unai Emery can then get the job done and walk out of White Hart Lane with the result. Expect Unai Emery, again, to make life difficult, but I like Tottenham here at home at White Hart Lane. They're going to get the job done, but I do think Villa will find the back of the net. Now, just because Emery will is going to set him up right. He's going to make life difficult. Expect him to walk away here with at least a goal in their back pocket, but not any points. Give me Tottenham winning this game 2-1. Give me a 2-1 win for Spurs. Then the last matchup we've got to try and predict is Nottingham taking on Chelsea. I mean, you've got Chelsea, Champions League team every season, top of the table every season. Forest hasn't been in the Premier League in a long time. These clubs, haven't even faced each other since 1999 in the Premier League is the last time these two teams went at it. So if you're just talking like difference in class, yeah, it's Chelsea way up here and Forest is probably drops off the screen. I mean, that's just the gap between these two clubs. Chelsea's, of course, won the last 2 head-to-heads in all competitions, won those via the clean sheet. They haven't really played at Nottingham since 1999 because all those previous matches have been involved in cup games, and Chelsea was drawn at home in all those cup games. No Dean Henderson is in this matchup. He's injured. You saw what his replacement did, Hennessy, against Manchester United. You saw that goal against Martial. You got to save that, man. I know he got a palm to it. He got down. But that's the difference between a Dean Henderson and the backup there in Hennessy. Dean Henderson's going to make that save. There's quite the drop-off there in that backup. Look, Chelsea's going to win this game. I think they're going to run away with this one, and they're going to do it via a clean sheet. Go ahead and give me a Chelsea 3-0 win. Chelsea's going to win this one 3-0. All right, guys, that's how we're going to do it this week. As always, I wish you guys good luck on your picks for a chance to win $50,000. Do drop in a comment. Let me know, what you think about the, the Premier League kind of recap that we do at the beginning of the show. If you want to see that going forward and what have you. And just sit back, enjoy these games, and next time we talk to you guys, we'll be in the new year. All right, Happy New Year, and good luck with your picks. That was a lot of fun. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and good luck with your picks. If interested in placing real sports bets, then check out my latest daily free sports betting video in the bottom right corner. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next contest.